Hello and welcome to Watchdog Wargaming. Before we look at the M46 Patton Tank by Atlantis, let's actually talk about the history of the actual M46 Patton itself. The M46 Patton is an American medium tank designed to replace the M26 Persian and the M4 Sherman. It was one of the US Army's principal medium tanks of the early Cold War, with models in service from 1949 to mid-1950s. It was not widely used by the US Cold War allies, being exported only to Belgium and only in small numbers to train crews on the upcoming M47 Patton. The M46 was the first tank to be named after General George S. Patton Jr., commander of the US Third Army during World War II, and one of the earliest American advocates for the use of tanks in battle. After World War II, most US Army armoured units were equipped with a mix of M4 Shermans and the M26 Persian tanks. Designed initially as a heavy tank, the M26 Persian was reclassified as a medium tank after the war. The M26 was a significant improvement of the M4 Sherman in firepower and protection. Its mobility, however, was deemed unsatisfactory for a medium tank, as it used the same engine as the much lighter M4A3 and was plagued with unreliable transmission. The only American combat use of the M46 Patton was during the Korean War. On the 8th of August 1950, the first M46 Patton tanks belonging to the 6th Tank Battalion landed in South Korea. The M46 proved to be capable against North Korean T-34-85 medium tanks. By the end of 1950, 200 M46 Pattons had been fielded, forming about 15% of the US tank strength in Korea. The balance of 1,326 tanks shipped to Korea during 1950 were 679 M4A3 Shermans, including the M4A3 E8 variant, 309 M26 Persians, and 138 M24 Chaffee light tanks. Subsequent shipments of M46 and M46A1 Pattons allowed all remaining M26 Persians to be withdrawn by 1951, and most Sherman-equipped units were also re-equipped. The M46 Patton tank had a crew of 5. It was a commander, a gunner, a loader, a driver, and an assistant driver. It had armour of up to 102 millimeters. Its main armament was a 90 millimeter gun, of which they carried 70 rounds. Its secondary armament was two .30 caliber machine guns and a single .50 M2 machine gun. It had an operational range of 81 miles or 130 kilometers and a maximum speed 30 miles per hour of 48 km/h. Like you, I'd never heard of Atlantis before, and I did wonder sort of where does this company come from. Apparently, Atlantis Model Company was founded in 2009, and they manufacture injection molded plastic model kits and hobby-related products. And sort of over recent years have managed to collect or taken on into their ranges various different models or molds from such likes of Monogram, Revel, Aurora, and Renewal. Some of these dating back to the early 1950s, and they look after sort of representing automotive, aircraft, ships, military figures, space. Historical characters and dinosaurs and lots of science fiction and fantasy figures. Apparently they are bringing out a lot of these old models from the 1950s, and so it'd be interesting to see what they bring out in the future. This is one of the models. The actual M46 Patton tank is actually one of the probably one of the older ones. I think it dates back from the 1950s when it was first originally brought out by Aurora. I've got a couple of Aurora Centurion tanks, and this is the first one I've picked up from the Atlantis, under the Atlantis umbrella. So let's have a look at the box and see what's in the contents. So finally, here we are, the opening of the Atlantis M46 Patton tank. Like it says in here, it's made in the USA. It's a 1/48 scale, and you've got a very 1950s style picture on the front. Underneath we have the actual description of the model. So it's lengths length 7 inches, flexible tracks, parts 127, molded in olive green, decals, water slide. A bit of history on the actual tank itself, and also a painting guide, so black, brown, light green, white flesh, and dark grey. The actual box itself is quite hard cardboard, and then so the back on the back side we have a picture of the actual tank itself. And like I said, this is models goes back to the early 1950s, so we're not 3D, drawn. It's got the old-fashioned way, drawn off a plan and modelled that way, sort of tooled. Certainly old school. Details of the actual Atlantis Models company, the age groups and everything else on it. And also it's here says who's actually the overseas agent, so it's actually been sold by Hobbycraft UK, so they're represented in the UK. So a few more sort of pictures on the side, the actual decals, and yeah. So right, let's get into the model and see what we've got. Now, having made one of these kits before, I know it's going to be quite basic from what people are used to now. So like the old Tamiya kits, Rubicon, so lots of information, lots of details, and everything else. And so let's have a look. Put the box to one side. Let's get all the contents out. So first off, instructions. So here's the instructions of the M-46 Patton Tank. Quite clear, well laid out, also in French, and I believe that's Spanish as well. And also there's information on about its use in Korea as well, which is very interesting. Yeah, very clear instructions. Like I said, this is a very, very basic model, and again, it gives lots of opportunities for kit bashing and raiding your bits box to actually add to this. Okay, so that is actually a very basic instruction. So it's you put the roll wheels on separately, the rear idler, front sprocket, main body, and also it's good to see it's actually got rubber tracks, and because it's a remold a reissue, these are not brittle tracks that you would find in the older ones, but these are proper tracks that have got a lot of give on them as well. So that's a Bertie bonus. Yeah, so making individual scale tracks now, that's I've lost interest in that one, but so that's good. Yeah, so 50 caliber machine gun, it comes with 2 crew, and then there's the 19mm gun. And bow gun as well. And also, as I said, if you've got the pictures, there's also instructions here of where to actually place the decals. Useful for first-time starters. And actually, this kit's actually not that bad for a first-time starter kit either. So there's the decals. And let's have a look inside. So it's all sealed up, which is good. So not going to have any parts that have gone walkabout whilst in transit. Now the last kit I had, which was dated from the 1950s, did have a lot of flash, but that's probably to the injection molded. And I was a wee bit concerned about the actual barrel, because the barrel from the picture looked sort of slightly huge. In fact, no, that's probably that is the barrel. So what else have we got? A couple of loose road wheels. Now the crew are going to be a 1/33rd scale, so they are going to be quite large compared to your if you're using 156, 28 mils or things. So, but like I've done, I've used some of my old 156 crew. It looks fine. I use it for wargaming. You know, it's yeah, so these are okay. A little bit of flash on them, more than sort of normally, but again, these are old kits, so what what to expect. Bit used to the standing knife, a bit of a file, and that's soon clean up on there as well. So all the parts are there. The actual plastic itself is it's not that bad. It's actually it's not cheap. Cheap plastic is actually quite good, quite strong, which is good. Oh, there's your turret. There's your machine gun. What I might do is actually change that 50 caliber machine gun to something out of the bit box. That's a little bit too basic. The only thing that I probably will add on here as well is the toe chains. This has got toe chains on it. No toe chains. Additional stowage, I'll add that as well. I did do a little video on additional stowage, so that will help with this. And there's the main body of it. So yeah, there's probably going to be a little bit of work to do on this as well, just to bring it up to from a bit of a basic standard to actually something that's I would probably use on the battlefield. You know, it's my personal preference. Certainly get the old bit box out for this, but for this was another eBay find, quite cheap, and I know there's more out there as well. But you know, if you're looking for a 1/48 scale model of a pattern, you know, and you're not willing to 3D print or anything like this, then so this is probably a good choice for you, especially if you're a new starter. So I think that this is gets a thumbs up for me. I am quite aware that these are old kits and they are showing their age. So if you're expecting to, to the Rubicon standards or something like that, then so you're going to be slightly disappointed. But I think it's a good place to start. Good models, and to be honest, if Atlantis is actually bringing out some of the old models, some of the old spacecraft from the 1950s, as the old pulp films that they're bringing out as well. So I might have a look at those range. That's really interests me. The old UFOs and sort of War of the Worlds type tripod things. So for me, this is a good kit. I've had experience of the Aurora and now the Atlantis models. So yeah, so thumbs up for me. And hopefully I'll put this onto my Watchdog Wargaming Facebook page when it's all done and dusted, so you can have a look on that. So if you like what I'm doing, don't forget to like and subscribe. As I said, we're slowly getting up there to that to the big 1,000, which is that's my chief goal. But yeah, if you've got any comments, please comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will catch up with you all soon. So until then, thank you and all the best.
Squad morale restored.